went to work, and Hunter made a mistake pretty quick on the first lap, got around him, and just kind of put it, I'm not gonna lie, I put it in cruise control because I knew at the end of the race I was going to be depleted.
Have you been stuck in a rut lately? Welcome to In the Rut podcast with your hosts, Josh Merrit and Missy Davenport.
Welcome back to the podcast, guys.
What's up, everybody?
So today we are going to be talking about Josh's round 2, round 3, and round 4 of the 2024 GNCC series. And we're going to fast track a little bit, probably through 2 and 3, and then we will do a deeper dive into round 4, Josh's second podium of the season. So, Josh?
So, round 2, Palatka, Florida, the Wild Boar. Sand. I've been training in the sand off season. You think I'd be an expert at this point, and still have a lot of work to do in the sand at this point of my career. Didn't get a whole shot this second round, and but had a decent jump. Went in the first corner, probably 4th or 5th. Stalled in the second corner and got passed by a few people, but made some really quick passes on the first probably 100 yards of the...
Wait. No.
What?
No.
What?
At Florida...
Yeah.
No, at Florida, it was a debate if you got the whole shot or not. You're thinking of Georgia.
No, that was round 1, Macy. Round 1, I almost had the whole shot.
You stalled in the second corner?
Yeah.
You also stalled in the second corner, Georgia?
No, I didn't stall. I stopped in Georgia because I couldn't see. So, round 2, Florida. 5th place, probably off the start. Stalled in the second corner. I think Chris went by me. Tried to get him back right going into turn 3 and 4. He stayed ahead. He was very aggressive, and I knew he wanted that position. I was running the tweener tires, and right off the bat, first 100 yards into the woods, I ended up making the pass on Chris in the deeper mud and on Hunter.
Okay. I do remember you being in
3rd,
4th-ish.
4th-ish.
But, yeah. And I knew that you made the pass on Hunter, but I definitely do not remember that part of the start. So, you do continue. I just, a little confusion there on my end.
First lap, really didn't have a chance of keeping up with Bryson and Walker. They were pretty much gone. I mean, I don't understand. They were going so fast, and Hunter was right behind me the first, I would say, 3/4 of the first lap, and then we come to the water section, and Hunter just blitzed it and went right by me. Kind of figured it was going to happen. It was going to be a game of who is going to be more aggressive through that section, and I wasn't really willing to soak myself to stay ahead because I'm a better follower than a leader, and I knew Hunter was going to come with a little bit more speed also around the rest of the track, so he got ahead of me, and that's kind of where I sat the rest of the day. That's why this is going to be an easy one. Me and Hunter really... I don't know if he just put it on like a cruise control because Bryson and Walker were gone or what, but we were just kind of doing our own pace, just going faster than the guys behind us, but going slower than the guys in front of us. And I was super comfortable going that speed, and I was like, man, all right. Lap 2, I'm running 4th, he's running 3rd. Lap 3, same thing. And we get down to that last lap, and I was like, okay, I think I can get him. And I don't know what hit him or what got into him, but that kid shifted up probably 2 gears, got a couple lappers in between us, and I hit a wall, guys. It was almost slightly embarrassing because he ended up beating me by 57 seconds.
And all day you were just sitting literally in a shadow, like
Yeah.
bike lengths. There was not much in between you guys all day. And then last lap, it's like, actually last lap we started then take into consideration Adam, and if Adam was going to be catching you, and if we needed to kind of give you pit boards saying, hey, Adam's on his way to you, either keep your pace, up your pace. So fourth lap was a big surprise, I think, not only for you, but for us too.
Yeah. So Adam was a minute behind on lap 3. So I had a minute to play with going into lap 4. He ended up only losing to me by 26 seconds. So he definitely closed the gap, and I went way, way slower than the guys around me. So there was something happened out there, and I don't know what I did, but mentally or physically I hit a wall and I threw the anchor out, and I took my goggles off. I felt like I was overheating again. I think it's just Florida, the sand whoops. No matter how much you do, you never do enough. I don't know.
I think you're not giving yourself enough credit, though, because this is by far the best you've ever done in Florida.
True.
So
last year I got 9th at this track.
Yeah, so a 4th, just because your last lap was somewhat, I'm not even going to say it was subpar, but in your mind it wasn't as good as you thought it should be. And I'm never going to tell someone that they should shoot and aim higher for better goals, but you need to look at the years past and the big picture. And I think in general, sure, you may have had higher hopes for yourself, but it still was a good day. It was a consistent, good points day. And those first 3 laps, you said you were riding at a very comfortable pace. I know when you got off the track, you actually said, I think at one point that you kind of felt like you guys could have been maybe going a little bit faster than what you were. You were kind of just riding a race, but you didn't feel like you were going that 105% like we talked about in the last one when you were following Bryson. So
yep, it definitely was comfortable pace, and I'm just glad that pace was faster than everybody else behind us, because the last thing I wanted was more pressure. I think with that gap that we created, you're right, I should take all the positives out of that, and I think I did. I think I was happy at the end of the day. Did I come off that track happy? Or was I frustrated?
I think you were tired from the get-go. I mean, right when you got off, you were tired, and I think you were probably a little bit stumped. But in general, you went into the weekend saying you just wanted a top 5. You got 4th. I think you weren't elated, but you also were not mad. You were somewhere in between.
Got it. So, that's Florida. I mean, pretty easy. Ended up 4th place. Decent start. Battled with Hunter. I figure I'm going to be battling with him a lot this year. That's my goal, at least. Kid is wicked fast, and he has some crazy skills. So 4th place at Florida. Then we have a 2-week break, and...
No, it's just a week break in between Florida and Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Per usual. How many years you been doing this?
That's crazy. My bad. So, yeah, week break. Did I ride? Oh, I did ride. I rode my race bike at Caleb Russell's house. That was fun. Got to see Caleb ride, which was a blast. Got to talk to Johnny for about 30 seconds, and then they were going golfing. And got ready, just broke in the race bike, the chain and everything. So cleaned everything up. Wait, no, that was before Florida. Yeah, because I went down south to pick up my other race bike, or up north to Georgia, picked up my other race bike from Mark at Durhamtown. it was so wet at Durhamtown, I actually drove an hour away to Todd Jones's property.
I wasn't with you for that, though.
Yeah. So this was going into Georgia.
Oh, that's right. Because I was with you before
You flew down.
Florida.
Yeah. And sorry about the confusion, everybody.
It's been a busy couple months.
Yeah. Yeah, we were going to do an episode 2, like race 2 and 3, and then a 4th, but we're going to just throw it all together. So I went down to Durhamtown, met Mark Notman, picked up my quad, drove to Todd Jones's because I knew it was going to be dry there. No matter how much rain they get, it's pretty much the elevation, it dries out really easily. Rode my race bike, hung out with Neil and Brady for the night. They showed me town. We had some good food, some laughs, some just YouTube time. It was fun. It was a good time. And then, you know, we came into this race knowing it was going to pour. It was going to rain, and it was going to be miserable.
There were rumors that started at Florida that they possibly were going to have you guys go back there, which is absolutely insane. And I think everyone, well, at least from the feedback that I was hearing, was that it'd be absolutely crazy to go back there. So, they knew a week in advance it was going to be muddy, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I came into a mindset, and it was a very dark place, and I should never have done it. I wanted the race to be canceled. I wanted that thing to be canceled so freaking bad. I was commenting and being bad on social media.
You were being a negative Nelly.
Yeah, very negative in my group chats, in my social media, close friends, all that kind of stuff. I wanted that race to be canceled because I freaking love Georgia. I love that track. I love it when it's dry, though. I need a fast Georgia track. And I thought I could harness, show my skill. But not when it was a submarine race. So I pretty much defeated myself before I even got to the track.
Mentally.
Yeah, mentally. And, we get to the track. It's nice. It's actually dry. And I biked the track. It looks fun. Like, it had a little bit of water on it, but I was like, man, if it doesn't rain, the morning will blow that off, and we'll have a awesome race. Well, it rained all night long.
Which we knew was going to happen.
Which there was a, 80% chance. That means there was a 20% chance that it wasn't going to rain. But it rained, and it rained, and it rained. And I got to the track in the morning, and I watched the youth splish splash through behind the pro pits and just the morning race do the same thing. And I was just sitting in the back of my trailer, duct taping my airbox.
You were angry.
As tight as I could
elf.
be. I was being mean to Macy and my dad. And like I said, I think I was mentally defeated before the race even started. I prepared my quad as good as I could, as best as I could. Ran big tires. So at this point, I've ran normal tires at round 1, tweeners round 2, and now bigs round 3. It's kind of crazy.
Quick promo plug for GBC.
Yeah, GBC. Thank you for the options. But I had my big tires on. I had my duct tape taped around my airbox to make it submarine-like. It did not work. But lined up, knowing, me and Johnny talked about the start during the morning race. And he's like, Josh, this is going to be the most important start of the year. And we looked at every single spot up there for, I think I was up there for probably a half an hour. Yeah. You think so?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was up there for a while. And We talked and we figured out a spot where he thought I should be, where I agreed I think I should have been. And it was middle. It was middle. It was a little muddy, but it was shortest point to point A to point B. And I figured if I could beat the guys to the inside, I'd be good. And whoever's on the outside of me would have to go into the slop to go around me. Well, I line up. I'm feeling good.
He's the only one in the middle, may I mention?
Only one in the middle.
There's
Chris is about 20 feet to my right, and he's the only one to the inside middle. And then everybody else is 50 feet to my left on the outside, and then 100 feet to the 100 feet to the inside of me.
Which, as we were going up there, and it's very rare that I insert an opinion unless I would stand strongly behind that opinion. And I also very often say I try not to speak on things that I do not know. In this particular situation, I took a gander. It was a quick gander, but I did take an assessment of the line, and I said, hey, Josh, are you going to go to the inside? I think that the inside looks good. So, no, Johnny and I have a game plan. No worries. This is going to be a good pick. We know this is set.
It would have been good, but my bike didn't start as fast as it should have.
Is that what you're going with?
Chris was 20 feet to the inside of me, and he was the first one of the first corner. Who would have thought, which I think we should have all thought, that McGill would have came in like a wrecking ball from the inside.
Yeah, touche.
And then Wyatt sneaks through behind him to the inside because he pushed everybody so far outside. Wyatt gets the whole shot. Genius on Wyatt's part.
We could play what ifs all day of if Josh went to the inside, if Josh went to the outside. Either way, that was, dare I say, ballsy to be the only one in the middle. I like it. I like the effort that you and Johnny put in to take the time to assess the situation.
The dirt was good there.
I thought you said it was muddy. No?
It was just a little bit of mud I had to go through, but everyone to the inside of me had to go through something similar, or like a divot. They had a divot on the inside. The outside was just so far outside, but they had just good dirt all the way to the outside. But then if they didn't get there first, they were in the slush.
Okay, so
I get out there, and I get to that first corner, and Chris gets mashed by McGill, and Chris hits me just because he literally was turning and then he was going straight. I am like, okay, so I'll just keep going. I was like mid-pack, and the next thing I saw was nothing. My whole goggles were full of dirt. I'm trying to reach a tear-off, and I think there's either so much mud on my goggles that the tear-off is like into my goggles. Like I can't find it anywhere. And I just get to the second corner, which I think I didn't even know I was at the second corner, but I just come to a complete stop. I had no idea.
The way that it looked from my perspective was that, and this is what I was talking about earlier when I got them confused, but it looked as if he hit the tire. It's like a large monster truck tire, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Go around.
Yeah, it looked like his front, like if you're sitting on the four-wheeler, front left tire had hit that, and I assumed that he stalled. Obviously, I knew they were muddy, but that just from a perspective, that's what it does look like.
Yeah, no, even from the drone, it looks like that, but definitely didn't stall it. But I did come to a dead stop because I couldn't see, and I wasn't trying to, wreck into anybody and ruin somebody else's race and possibly ruin my
Very
race.
thoughtful of you.
Yeah, so come to a stop. Probably dumb of me, but finally get my tear off, and I'm in dead last. I'm like, this is exactly what I didn't want to happen. Here we go. And actually, Austin was behind me. I didn't know that until probably a quarter mile in, and we're all kind of in a train going slow, and he comes up behind me. I'm like, where'd he come from? I didn't know he got taken out. Or did he get taken out, or did he just...
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, it's kind of like the
It was just
domino effect.
Yeah, domino effect, and he ended up sliding on his back like a turtle and in the mud.
Yeah. The sad part was when he got up, he like popped up really quick, and I liked the enthusiasm, but then it was so slick he fell right again.
Yeah.
It was like, ooh, type
We should have
moment.
probably wore like spikes in our boots or something. That'd have been cool. But who'd have thought? So I am in panic mode. I'm in second to last. Walker's actually only 2 people ahead of me. Ronnie was right in front of me. And I'm like, I have to pass as many people as possible, as quick as possible. I made it behind Pro Pits and a touch further, like where the old finish would be, and I buried it. And Austin was behind me, and I felt bad for Austin. I was in ruts that would have swallowed a 4x4, and I guess they did swallow a 4x4 in the race before. Why somebody wasn't there pointing away from that line, I have no idea. But I got through it. Pro-Am pretty much was on our butts at that point. And
It wasn't just you. I mean, in general, that race, they had said that I should say, when I am referencing they, at this point, on Racer TV Live, they had said the XC1 Pro pace was much more conservative, and you could tell that the XC2 guys were just charging through. I don't know. At that point, would that have been a difference that they could have seen the lines you guys were taking? Would it have made a huge difference from the short amount of time from, could they really see the fresh tracks? Or, I don't know. I mean, because the entire first lap, whole first row and a good chunk of the second row were together for a good bit of it.
Well, those guys definitely, I think, don't pace themselves as good. They definitely do go all out. So you got to think 12 of us splashed the puddles out before them, so they could obviously go faster.
Well, I mean,
if they wanted to.
College A, Shorty was winning the overall the first lap.
I believe it.
So I'm not just saying it. I mean, you guys, everyone was together. That was probably like a record slow first lap.
Definitely, I agree. Because I got buried, Austin got buried. We still weren't like out of it, and then I think I got stuck again. Right at the end of the lap, and that's when the Pro-Am guys started passing me, and I was so screwed up at that point that I wanted to quit so bad. And I come into the pit, and what did I say, Macy?
You just yelled at me because you couldn't get your helmet on.
Oh no, the first lap when I got goggles.
Well, this sucks.
Yeah, I said, well, this sucks. So, it did suck. God, I just wanted a dry race. But,
Kara and I both said, we looked at each other, we saw him for the first time and said, well, this is the craziest we've ever seen him ride. Just as far as, like, we thought, okay, Josh is going to be patient. He's going to think all of his decisions through. We turn our backs after he, like, passes us in that section. And this might even be at a different part in the race. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I think this is lap 2 or 3.
Yeah. So we turn around. We go to walk back to the Pro Pits area. And we hear rev bombs behind us. It's Josh stuck. So Kara and I take off. I, drop the water, drop the pit board, and so we're in these monster ruts trying to help him. I'm not much use. Kara's much better at helping with stuff like that by far. So I was just kind of there because how could I not want to try to help? But that just kind of seemed to be like the tone for the day for you. We kept saying, okay, we just hope that he settles down. We hope that he relaxes. And I don't know. I don't know when. So what was it? Lap 2? That was your fast lap. That was also the pit lap. But that also was you were the fastest on the track.
Yes.
All day that lap.
Yeah. So my pit lap, second lap, was the fastest out of all the pro guys, and I would have to guess pro-am and everybody on the track. But that was the lap. We did a helmet change during the pit, and for some reason, I swear, I've never had this problem in my life. I like keep the strap loose on the helmet that I'm going to be putting on, so I can put it on, tighten it as I'm putting it on, and go. I could not get the helmet on my head. And Macy's like, the strap's as loose as it can go. I'm like, well, then my head freaking grew. And we're struggling. It was probably 30 seconds.
If you don't know
40
the
seconds.
stress of someone yelling at you when they are racing because of something they think that you did or you made the mistake, or maybe this does happen to you and you just don't care. But for me, like if something bad happens or like it's my fault and then it's a bad outcome because of me, like it stresses me out to no end. So I'm like, I don't know. It's just the worst feeling in the world. A smooth pit is the best. And I'm always like, you're stressed until the pit happened. You pray that it's going to go good. And then it's so quick. Sometimes you like blink and you're like, okay, what even happened? Like, did he say anything? What did he even take water? You kind of have to like regroup after. So that one was definitely on the less fun side.
Normally I'm pretty quiet and chill. But
we just try to feed him information and he stays.
This time, I don't even know if I was mean, but I was like, I guess my head just grew. Like, at that point, I thought it was just a freaking joke. I had no idea what I was doing out there. I was just riding so dumb. And
we were trying to give him pit boards that say, just breathe. We were trying to tell him how far he was out of, the top 5, and even explain to him that I think at lap 2 or 3, he was only 30 or 40 seconds out of like top 3. I mean, everyone was so close together that yes, even though he was coming through and the leaderboard might have said that he was however far back, in reality, he wasn't. And I will say I feel like this is a good opportunity to take the time to say, if you are a racer or you are someone who is the designated pit board person, take that time on the way to the race, before the race, something to communicate how you want to communicate during the race. So I think we're still trying to iron out the best form of communication with Josh, just because I don't always have the opportunity to get around to different places on the track, and it makes it really tough when you only get to see them every 30 minutes and not knowing exactly where they're at and being right before the finish line. It doesn't give you a good gauge of where they're at in comparison to the rest of the track. But if you have the ability, or you have more people in your group, it makes it easier to get around to different places and, say, test it out when you're practicing or things like that to figure out how much you can read in an amount of time. Do you like to know how far the person in front of you is or how far the person behind is? I think every situation is going to call for different suggestion or different pit board saying. But the more you do it, the better you'll get, the more communication that your rider has, because just like Josh was saying from Florida, he was just really thankful and he was worried that the pack behind him were going to catch him and Hunter. And if that was something that I would have known he was worried about, I would have told him, hey, you guys have however many minutes, or you have however many seconds with, P4, P5, P6, or, however it goes. So now knowing that sometimes might be something that he's worried about, or if I do know that he has a decent gap, I might put something like that on a pit board for him to have a little bit of ease on his mind while he's racing, because they have no idea other than the leaderboard, and sometimes those aren't accurate, and either that or they can be missed. So that's just my tip of the day.
Yeah, and I agree with all that. Very important to know, well, for me to know where I'm at on the track. I very rarely don't know, or I know 100% where kind of everyone is, but it is really hard to know who's behind you and all that kind of stuff. Who's in front of you is very easy most of the time because you can see where you're at on the start and you have a really good gauge going in the first few corners, but that track was tough. Now, just going through the laps, I didn't understand this. So my second lap was the fastest lap of lap 2 at a 26:21. Bryson and Walker ran a 26:34 and a 26:43. My next lap was a 26:17, so it was faster than my lap 2. But these guys dropped a minute off of their lap times. They were running 25:37 and 25:33. I don't understand how that's possible. I ran the same exact lap time. They ran a minute faster. If I missed a line, if I missed something out there that would have helped me, which that is why you need to be with the lead group. Because the top 3 were all in the 25s. Fourth was a 26:02. So I don't know what I missed out there. And same with the next lap. I ran a 26:53, which I thought was decent. I got stuck behind a couple lappers and actually pulled my goggles off with a few miles to go. So I knew I was going to be a little slower. But they also ran a 25:30 and a 25:14 for first and second, and then a 26:14 for third. Old WW of Wyatt Wilkins. Congratulations, buddy. If you listen to this, I'm proud of you, buddy. I'm proud of you. But, yeah, so I was missing some kind of line out there, and that's just being out of that lead group, and that's my fault. Overriding the first lap, being dumb, making mistakes, being with Pro-Am guys, and then have to work through the pack. I came through the first lap 31st overall on paper. Not good. Not where you want to be. Obviously, like Macy said, we were all bunched up, but I was riding with Pro-Am, mid-pack Pro-Am guys, and trying to pass them was tough because they obviously thought I was in their class. Good old Georgia. I defeated myself before the race started. Had a long talk with Johnny. Mud races, I used to be really freaking good at them. And I think, like I said, defeated myself before I even came in because I wanted that race to be dry.
I wouldn't say that you used to be good at them. You probably still are. You still ran a fast lap.
Yeah.
But you need to change your... I understand where you were coming from with this one, but you got to take what the elements throw at you. And regardless, you have to be glass half full. I always say your mind is your own worst enemy.
And it was. And that won't happen ever again. And so now let's get into Florida. All right, and now on to Camp Coker. You want to start this one off, Macy? Because this is where it gets good.
What a weekend it was.
Was it like a 48-hour bender?
God, it feels like I'm still now recovering. Like I'm just now recovering fully.
It's Tuesday after the race.
When you say bender, you make it sound like we had a good time, like partying. That is not the case.
Yeah, you're right. Well, normally when you have a bender, you feel really crappy afterwards.
Touche.
Right?
Yeah, I'll give that to you. I understand where you're going with that.
Yep. So,
but I just want to clear the air so no one's getting false.
So guys, this is what's going on this race. Macy and her dad Rick worked half day Thursday.
Well, to be clear, I worked a full day.
Day, but yeah, we left half day in. Perks of the job. We took Rick's truck which is a GMC 2500, and we pulled my race trailer. No motorhome this weekend. And we're driving along. And
we had set the plan that we were going to try and get pretty close, or if not as close as we could, to the track Thursday night, and then wake up pretty early Friday and make the rest of the way.
Yeah, we wanted a good hotel, but like a safe hotel also. So like didn't have to worry about the four-wheelers or nothing like that.
So we just figured we'd get a good start on the road, then we'd find a hotel, just kind of see how we were feeling, book the hotel and then make it there and then call it a night.
So we booked the hotel and it said, I think like 11 o'clock when we were supposed to get there.
Well, no. So we stopped for food and I'm like, hey, how are we feeling? Like, what do we, how are we thinking? And I said, well, there's one, it's going to be about like 2.5 hours from the track, but that's going to put us there at like 11:30-ish or, 11:15. Do you think we can do that? I know it's going to be pretty late, but, we got a little bit later start on the day than we had hoped. So, either we do it tonight or we do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
We all agree, let's just do it tonight,
Yeah, we were feeling decent at the time.
Yeah.
And we were just getting some food in us, and we're like, okay, we'll be energized. We'll be ready to go. Well, I actually saw where we stopped, and it was an hour and a half away from where we ate. Exactly.
What are you talking about stopped?
Where we stopped first for my first I don't feel good.
Mm.
So, guys, we ate this wing, etc. place, and
Which Josh admitted he had been wanting to try because we see it on the highway every single time we go down south and come home.
It looks like a
Josh
decent place.
loves wings, and the reviews online were okay. Nothing bad. Like the menu was super wide. It looked like just a normal like sports bar. So we figured, okay, we'll try it. We go in, normal food, normal service. If anything, it was pretty quick. And then, like Josh said, about an hour and a half down the road,
I literally look at Rick and I'm like, I think you're going to have to pull over. I don't feel good. And this is where our weekend goes all downhill. I get out of the truck and I'm just pacing and I'm feeling my belly rumble.
Which, mind you, Josh and I have been dating for a while now, and the only time I've ever seen him sick was when he had COVID. And that's it.
And
right?
The last time I was sick is I was at the Galata's house.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen him sick, so it was weird. And Josh also eats if you would look at Josh and then you would, without seeing him, like a portion of normally what he eats a decent amount, and he's not really picky, especially when it comes to like dinner type foods. He's picky about snack stuff, but he'll eat pretty much whatever. So I was honestly pretty surprised when my dad said that he wasn't feeling well and kind of just looking at Josh. So I wasn't sure what to make of it and how serious it really was going to be.
So I ordered 20 wings. I think I ate 15.
They were huge.
And they were big.
And we talked about
wings.
it. And bottom line, what we think happened was because how quick the food came out and with how big the wings were, I've just narrowed it down to they were undercooked. I don't know. Josh said they were spicy. That was really the only comment that was made at the time.
What I thought it was the, what they cooked it in.
That actually makes sense too, though.
Like it was old frying oil or something like that, because it got everything out of me, and it got
not to be
even
nasty,
more.
but like
if you have a weak stomach, this is the time to end the podcast, because
we're
an
not
hour
gonna
and a half in,
yeah.
I told Rick to pull over. We go to a gas station. It was very ghetto, and
that wasn't needed. Just pretend you didn't hear that.
Yeah. Well, there was guys walking around, and I'm just like outside ready to puke. And Macy and Rick go inside, and I just chicken wings everywhere, like all outside on the ground. Thank God. And I'm like, all right, I feel better now. I feel that was it. That looks like everything I almost ate, you know? And we're like, all right, load up. Let's go. I feel fine now. About 20 minutes later, I said, I was
No, you
sitting.
didn't say anything. He just rolls down his back window and starts projectile vomiting. We are in the West Virginia hills going 75 miles an hour, and my dad and I just like whip our heads around. It is going everywhere, and literally Josh's body from his hips, where you hinge at your hips, to head were entirely out of the truck.
And that went on until midnight.
It was a continuous cycle.
So we just kept driving. I just kept puking every 15 to 30 minutes.
I will say I tried to look to see if I could update my itinerary and we could reschedule with a different hotel. It was not refundable, but even at that point I said, I don't care. It doesn't matter at this point. If we need to stop, we can stop. Josh said, no, I insist. Continue.
The show must go on.
So the show went on.
And lots of puke all over the truck and trailer. We finally get to the hotel.
We're super happy. We're actually thrilled, one might say, because we get there. It looks really nice. It smells good when we walk in. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty weird about hotels. Like, it has been my recent mission to make sure that we never have a hotel stay again. That is nasty. So I'm always a little bit weary walking in. And so to my surprise, I was, I walk in happy, whatever. So we have digital check-in where you can just use your phone to unlock the room. We go up, not working. It's just telling me it's not working. And I don't know why, because we've done this countless times before. Not sure what's happening. I have to go back downstairs, ask the sweet lady behind the desk if she could come help me. She tries to send me another digital card, not working. So long story short, it took another probably 15 minutes and Josh is sitting on the hotel floor. And I had to tell her, please, I don't think you understand. My boyfriend is sick. And she, I think, was not really wanting to come up because she's like, well, if he's sick, why should I come up there? Anyways, we get him in. It's probably like 12:30 at this point, and you shower, you lay down,
my teeth,
and
then I laid down, and I think I made it 30 minutes again.
The craziest part is I slept through all of it except for one
time. You said you came up and you kind of scratched my back and made sure I was okay.
We had counted. I don't know how many times he threw up in the middle of the night, but I know, including the stop at the gas station, he threw up a total of 7 times on the drive, just between.
That's just 7 times we stopped, not 7 times I puked, right?
Yeah, that was just 7 different. And then
I was puking multiple
to the point where he was dry heaving.
Yeah, I would drink as much water as I could, and it would all come out of me every single time.
We were getting him Gatorade. I was trying to make him like take little bites of crackers or like so. Yeah.
So Macy wakes up one time with me, and I pretty much was in that bathroom every 30 minutes.
I'm
a
pretty heavy sleeper.
And so was Rick. They were snoring, and I'm like, okay, thank God. At least I'm not keeping them up.
I try to be very caring. But
I closed the door. I didn't want to keep you guys up all night long. Still had a lot to do that weekend. Even if I wasn't going to survive, we still had to drive home at some point. So ended up sleeping on the floor, showering for about an hour, brushing my teeth probably 5 times because I threw up so many different times, and it was the worst night in my life. I think I probably slept an hour, 2 hours at most. It was miserable. I don't want that to happen to anyone that I know or my worst enemy because of how bad I actually felt. And I don't know. It was terrible. It was truly, truly terrible. And That happened until 5 a.m. was the last time I puked.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't sleep. I think that's maybe when I went to sleep, or maybe that's when I was showering and waiting for these guys to get up for a really long time. But
So my dad and I wake up. We're kind of like not really sure how Josh is feeling, if he's gonna. So I try to go downstairs, get him some toast. He's really not feeling it still. So Dad and I decide we're gonna go get Starbucks. We are gonna go to the gas station and see if we can get him some electrolytes, Pedialytes, everything that we can think of. And then see how he's feeling when we get back. He still was not feeling well. He was starting to drink Gatorades, all the things, but he still just kind of wanted to lay low for a little bit. So I just worked until 10:30 in the hotel room.
Yep.
And then we decided at that point it was going to be about 1 by the time we would make it to the track. So we should probably head out. And we did.
So we got to the track.
Well, luckily...
That was the longest drive of my life because my belly was rumbling. It was wanting to throw up so bad. And, I couldn't anymore. But we got to the track. We got parked. Your dad got us in there. Thank goodness. I kind of gave you guys a list of what we need to get done today and what we can get done later. We got everything we needed. We got fuel. We got, wheel covers. We got parts out of the trailer.
Got
signed up. And, just did the mandatory things that we needed to do for a Friday. I asked Macy. I asked Johnny. I said, do I bike the track? Do I want to go look at it? And both of them said, no, save your energy. You look like death. I probably was a walking zombie at that point. I also got some Scott goggles stuff. Thank you. And it was sorry. And literally, I think 3:30 we were out of there by 3:30. So in 2.5 hours, we got all that stuff done. Dropped the trailer. We were out of there. We went and stayed at a True. It was 30 minutes away.
First of all, we stopped and got Texas Roadhouse because normally you like to eat steak.
Oh yeah.
Before race days, and
I ate a half of a salad.
And I also had a salad. We both had rolls.
Yep.
And my dad had a steak. What else did my dad have? I don't know. My dad also had a steak. I think he also had the Caesar salad, and I can't remember what other side he got. And he had a brownie and ice cream.
Yes.
So after that, I make the executive decision. I want to stop at Target because they have some medicine for, basically calming your stomach. It's not even really a medicine. It's just an herbal supplement. And I figured since we're going to be back at the hotel at 5 p.m., I would like some snacks, and I want to make sure that we have everything to try and replenish him. So what better place to go than Target just to do a really quick run? So it's in the same parking lot as Texas Roadhouse. We run in there super quick. My dad and I, Josh stays in the truck. We get back it's a 5-minute drive to the hotel. We are in there. We shower, lay down by 6 o'clock. And I'm doing goggles at that point, building race goggles for the next day. Josh is kind of in and out of it. We were watching The Office, but we shut the blackout curtains, and I think by 7 o'clock I was texting his sister Kara, just kind of filling her in on what was going on, and he was out, which I was happy about. And I mean, I was even tired too, not that I went through what he did, but I put my headphones in at that point, shut off the TV, and I think at 9:30ish I ended up going to bed, which is 7's very early for him, obviously, but 9:30's even early for me. So I thought, okay, this is going to be great. We're going to be really relaxed, really rested. And then it just didn't turn out to be that way.
Yeah, so I'm gonna rewind just a second. When I came into the hotel, I saw Bryson, and normally I'm a talker, and Bryson even knew like the next, or actually on the podium or something. He's like, you know what? When I saw you, you didn't like come talk to me. You weren't yourself, and I was like, yeah, it's because I wasn't feeling good. He's like, I figured that at the end. Well, now that I know, so it was kind of funny. Just him saying that. And so what? We go to bed at 7, you 9:30. I wake up at midnight and Macy rolls over and she says, I don't feel good. And I'm like, oh no, this is not
Which
good.
Didn't make any sense. I thought maybe just like my stomach had hurt from, I don't know, like being, I tend to get a little bit stressed out on race weekends, whatever. I just thought maybe it was like the stress of traveling and like knowing that Josh was sick. Didn't think it was like that big of a deal. I had a couple snacks before bed. I was like, maybe it's just not sitting well with me. But it turned out to be food poisoning as well. It just didn't register at first because why would Josh immediately get sick after eating? And then it kind of took 24 hours with me. I don't know. I still don't really understand exactly. I'm not an expert in that field, and this is only the second time in my entire life that I've ever had food poisoning. But unfortunately, Josh was not as heavy. He did not sleep as heavy as I did, and so all of the times that I was throwing up, he heard it. Although I also tried to sleep on the bathroom floor, which would have been Friday night. Every time I was getting up to throw up, he heard me, unlike the night before when I did not hear him.
I would just say, you okay? All right. And yeah, I went in every once in a while and just made sure she was, kicking still. So,
at that point, obviously it didn't really matter so much as long as Josh was feeling better. It didn't matter how I was feeling. I could have laid in the
thank God
truck.
she let me go to bed at 7:30 because if I waited till 9, only got till midnight, I think the results would have been a little bit different.
Well, honestly, at like 6 o'clock, I talked to him about not letting him actually fall asleep because I was worried that he would not sleep through the night and then be up regardless from because in our home, like at home in normal circumstances, if he were to take a nap or something, he will not sleep the entirety of the night. So I was worried about it ahead of time, and then I said, we talked about it. He just said, no, I think it'll be fine. And thank goodness we didn't hold off any longer because it really would have been bad.
I was pretty rested at midnight. I'm not gonna lie. Like I felt decent. And I really think me going to bed early was definitely helpful because when she woke up, she said she didn't feel good. I probably only slept a few more hours throughout the whole night.
Yeah, and we got
from stressing from her and hearing her. And at one point, I come in and she's laying on the bathroom floor. She has the top blanket of our hotel bed, and the next time I go in there, she's laying in the shower, and I'm pretty sure she was in that shower for over an hour. And
we got up fairly early though the next morning to get food, and I was hoping to be able to keep food down, but Josh was ready to go at that point. He said that he was feeling better. He was keeping liquids down. He was keeping foods in. He wanted to eat his normal pre-race breakfast that we normally do. Yep. So at that point, like I said, I knew that it really didn't matter how I was feeling, and we just continued on as if it didn't. So we knew what was needed to be done ahead. Luckily, my dad's really, really helpful.
We call him Iron Stomach now.
Yeah, I'm not sure
he
how.
ate the same stuff as us, and he was okay.
Which we wouldn't have been able to do the weekend if it wasn't for him. Like, if he wouldn't have been there, we wouldn't have got there. There's no way.
No way.
So he knows that. We're super thankful. But regardless, so we get there, we kind of start doing the things. I slept for a couple of like, I don't know, maybe an hour or so in the truck in the morning when they first started, youth was out there. Them opening the doors and me smelling race fuel, or like the, I don't know, like burger stand or whatever, was it just making me sick alone. So I can't imagine the way that Josh was feeling the day before. But rolls around race time, and we weren't really sure what the day was going to unfold.
I walked maybe a quarter of a mile of the track with Levi, right before the finish, going into the pro pits, to see what the track was like. I didn't know how this race was going to go. I knew my setup was going to be decent, just because Camp Coker is kind of like Croom, and that's the setup I brought in to the race. I think it's more like Croom than Florida is actually like Croom, just the sand, how thick it is and whatnot. So I was really excited to do that, and I was glad. I'm not gonna lie, I was glad it was perfect conditions out there, and
because it was supposed to rain all day.
It was supposed to rain all day, and I was almost hoping for rain just so it would slow the pace down. But now that I know how the race ended, I'm glad it didn't rain. I don't know if I can say that, but I am. But went to the starting line. Macy's being a soldier next to me, just being the survivor out there, and nobody knows really, other than a few people, what happened in the last 24 hours to both of us. And even us talking about it, I don't think anybody will still truly know how bad I was projectile vomiting. Macy was puking, and it was just not good. And lined up third place. And I went kind of middle, outside-ish. I knew Junior pulled the whole shot from the outside the year before, and I lined up in the middle outside, and knowing Junior took the whole shot from the outside the year before, just hoping I can beat those guys to at least the outside of the corner. Sometimes these guys in the sand, they'll go into that first corner, and the sand will actually slow them down more than you think. It naturally just slows you down. It's kind of weird. So you brake, and the sand's already slowing you down, so it slows you down a lot more. So I held the gas on a little longer, come out wide, and I think it was third place going into the second corner. Couldn't have asked for a better start. Absolutely perfect. Bryson and Hunter were on a mission the first few miles. I didn't plan on trying to stay with them. I didn't plan on trying to keep pace, because I knew I only had so long to hold on. I felt like my body was had a time limit, and the faster that I went, the quicker that time limit would come. And I really just wanted to put a good pace out, beat some of the guys that I needed to beat, and take my medicine for the week. And about 3 miles in, I think it was 3 or maybe 4 miles in, Hunter just was going down this trail, and his bike turned, and he went off his quad. I was like, what in the world? Like, they were barely in sight at this point. And I guess his steering stem or something broke around the steering, and he didn't hit anything. I didn't see him hit anything, and he just went on the ground, and I went right around. I'm like, holy smokes, I'm in second place right now. I had the worst 48 hours of my life, and now this is happening. This is crazy. So I just kept going. I didn't know where anybody else was, but there was a gap from Bryson to me, and I looked back in one of the straightaways, and there was nobody, and I was like, what in the world is going on? And knowing it would probably be a 5-lap race, because there's not much the track isn't as long there and it's fast. It was a little scary, but made it through to lap 2, and that's when you guys pit me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Macy and Rick pit me. I got goggles, I got gas, and McGill and Walker were the ones behind me at that point.
So you and Bryson both pitted.
Okay.
So at that point, we did not even consider the fact that it was going to be a 5-lap race. That's not something normally that I would be in charge of as far as like when your family is there. And I knew Bryson's pit, like I just thought everyone was getting ready. I didn't even think about it. Looking back, I still don't think I would have changed anything because I don't think I could have got you a water any sooner or in a different way. I couldn't get anywhere, and I didn't want my dad to leave in case you were to come in to the pits and need something. So, big picture things, in the moment we were kind of freaked out and questioning if we should have waited to pit you the way that Walker and Adam did, and a few other guys. But I think, like I said, we needed to get you water, and it worked out in your favor, even though in the moment we were a little bit panicked.
Yeah. So pitted second lap, and knew Walker and Adam were coming. I could see them going
Did
to
you
the
know
finish
that
line.
they didn't pit?
I didn't know, but I kind of figured once they caught me like that. But I knew right when they caught me like that they were pitting the next lap. So I was like, as long as I can stay with these guys, if they do catch me, if they do pass me, it won't be that bad because I will be able to, if I stay with them, I can get them right back when they pit. So it all worked out. And I think, like you said, we wouldn't have changed it anyway because I got water that lap. And then I had a quick lap with Walker because ended up letting him by to try to get away from McGill. And it worked somehow because when we came around and he had a pit again, we kind of were a little bit farther.
They were pitting just for the first time at lap 3.
Yeah, they were pitting again for lap 3, or they were pitting for the first time lap 3, and I just kept going through. So I passed Walker back. McGill was a little farther back, and Walker sprinted to catch me. And I think that right there was what gapped Adam and me enough where we could kind of get away. Because, again, I let Walker by again. And I know people are like, oh, you shouldn't let him by. You're racing against them. Well, the dude was faster than me at about 75% of the course. And listen to this, because I didn't walk the track. I didn't have the lines that this kid had. He showed me probably 15 seconds worth of lines. Like, it was amazing. Like, walking the track is that freaking important. And because I didn't do it, because I was sick, this was the best thing for me. And he pushed me through a couple sections where his bike was set up better. And then the sections that I was better, I was just kind of coasting behind him. So it worked out, and we got away from McGill. I got away from McGill. He was on his way away from McGill, if that makes sense.
Regardless.
Yeah, regardless. So we ended up getting let me pull up my phone real quick. McGill. It was a 45-second gap.
At lap 3, when they stopped for pits, we told Josh on the pit board it was going to be a 5-lap race. Stop next lap, or pit next lap. So he knew that he needed to come in and get fuel because we were only a few corners before the finish line. So he wasn't going to make it 5 laps without getting fuel again, and that's what we were worried about. Whereas if we would have done with the way that the first lap was set up, because it was shorter, when we had pit him originally, he stopped at 44 minutes, and they could do 3 laps when you are doing a shorter lap with the first one, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it well enough, but regardless, we just wanted him to know that it was going to be important to be quick, which he always knows. But that lap 4 pit was just going to be crucial since he was in between Adam and Walker.
Yep. So on lap 4, we actually had a 45-second gap over Adam, which was I was 15 seconds behind Walker because that's when I pitted and he went through. So it probably was a 6 to 8 second pit. Just got gas and water, no goggles, and I took off again. My 5th lap was 20 seconds slower than McGill's. So he ended up being 28 seconds behind me. That's with all the conditions that were thrown at me this weekend. I am beyond happy with that.
We had Levi. What mile marker would you say, or what part of the track did Levi give you a pit board that said McGill was 40 seconds back?
I think it was like the 3rd mile.
Yeah. So
mile 3.
Because we knew, when he had come in that it was going to be close, but also that Adam did fall back a little bit. So we didn't want him to still think. We figured he could look back in a couple corners and see, but we wanted to give him that extra assurance that he did not need to sprint that last lap if he didn't have it in him.
Yeah, so I saw Levi's pit board 40 seconds, but there was a bottleneck, and Walker talked about it. On his interview, he said where his day went from bad to hilarious. It was because there was literally a guy broken down on the side of the track and someone hit him. And there was nowhere to go. It was right after the checkpoint with probably 3 miles to go. And there was probably 25 quads because this one guy couldn't pull off the track far enough and the other guy hit him. Walker's about halfway through it. I'm at the end of it. I'm like, great, this is where McGill's going to catch me, and I'm going to have to battle this guy all the way to the finish line. And somehow Walker pushes a couple quads out of the way, and I'm talking to the guys in front of me. I'm like, hey, move over just a little bit. And he's like, oh, I got to get through. I'm like, no, I need to get through. Like, I need to get up to that guy up there. And, Walker ended up putting like 40-something seconds on me, and that's perfectly fine. The last couple miles, I had about 8 more lappers in front of me than he did because he had, I think, 2 people in front of him. And at that, I was just like, okay, I made it through. I got through the finish line. And at that point, I felt my hands. Like, you could see what's going on, like when I go through the finish line, it looks like I am just going into like, holy smokes, I can't believe that just happened. And it just seemed like all the pain and all the tiredness hit me right as I went through the finish line. And my hands haven't been this bad since I was probably 16 years old. So it's pretty crazy how the whole weekend unfolded and just how everything came about. How in the world did I end up getting a P3 for the weekend? It's absolutely amazing.
We weren't really sure how it was going to go, and obviously we wanted him to still do his best, and we knew that he was somewhat recovered, but we didn't think he was to 100%, and I still don't think he was. Obviously, there was a lot of dehydration. He was definitely not fueled properly, and did not get to bike the track, but all things considered, it was, I can't say it was a great weekend because of what we went through and what we endured, but in the same sense, it was as great as it probably could have been with food poisoning. So my dad and I was a little bit out of it during the race. I still was just not feeling great. I think when Josh was on the podium, I sat down at one point, like in the crowd of people. Nonetheless, though, my proudness and for Josh and to be there and to be a part of it and watch it all happen, that was not lessened by any means. So it was really cool to see him overcome that and still get to have a really good weekend and put in all of the effort.
Yep, great weekend. Great way to end a shitty weekend on a positive note. And
with that, you've got a wrap of the first. What is that?
First four.
The first third of the season.
Yeah. That's
For-
wild.
No, 13 rounds this year.
Yeah, 13 rounds.
Okay, my math is off, but done with the first 4. So, which kind of seems crazy to say because it feels like just last week we're still getting ready for the season, but
Yeah, it goes by quick now. And we're sitting third in points. And
does that feel surreal to you?
it's still not real. It doesn't feel real.
You don't act like
I look
it.
every night and I'm like, holy smokes. I've never been so high up on this list.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like your strategy for the year, you knew you needed to be consistent. And overall, what is your
I
points?
went 2, 4, 7, 3.
No, your points goal, your overall points goal
It's like 230 points.
that you want.
Yeah.
So I think obviously Georgia was a little bit of a hiccup, but do you think, now that we're 4 rounds in, do you think that, have you exceeded your expectations for yourself the first 4 rounds?
Yeah.
Where did you think?
I wanted to be I have written down on one of my goals that I wanted to be top 5 every race. Sadly, that came to an end at Georgia. But I'm kind of taking that off my list, and I'm at 50% with podiums right now per rounds. So I was thinking if I can, stay at 50% for the year, I'm having a great freaking year, having 6 of 13 or 7 of 13, that'd be amazing. I know Hunter and, all the other guys, everyone, Wyatt, all those guys aren't going to make it easy. Adam, they're going to put up a fight, especially when we get back into dirt. Those guys are quick. I've raced against them my whole life, or a lot of my pro career, and it's gonna be a battle. And I'm ready for it. I'm excited, and we're putting in the work to stay up on that box, and I think we can get it done. So should be a good one. Should be a good year. Hopefully we've kept everybody entertained so far, and lots more.
Hopefully we don't have anything this eventful that's outside of the actual race coming your way again. For my sake and Josh's, I'm just gonna put that out and let that manifest. So with that, we just want to say thank you as always for listening. We have an Instagram and you can subscribe to us on YouTube in the RUT podcast. We are always open to suggestions, comments, feedback. We really hope that you are enjoying our conversation. We are looking forward to hearing a little bit more from you guys and eventually talking. It's just our schedule has been a little bit hectic. We appreciate the patience, and eventually we're getting ready to move. And once that move happens, things should slow down. We should be able to get on a more consistent routine, which that's obviously in a perfect world. I feel like life always is throwing new things our way, but for the meantime, that is our goal. Again, thank you for the patience and all of with our chaos and inconsistency. But I believe that's it for this evening.
Yep. Thank you guys. Bye.